Let me get this straight. You blew up a building.
2 CIs and the CEO of 22andU.
2 competing federal agencies with the same mission.
I don't understand why those Fed a-holes are so darn mean.
To protect the public from the scourge of dangerous misinformation.
You know those bum idiots. This is all them. We had a solid case.
The word entrapment, not even in their vocabulary.
The explosives we provided were fake.
Sworn to a duty to always tell the truth.
We have no indication at this time that this was a deliberate act.
We're all being transferred.
To where?
The only place currently with openings. Alaska.
Good morning.
Welcome to the office, huh?
And we got the retro feel. You know, the funny about federal buildings, they're all different, but they're still somehow all the same.
Oh, good morning, Agent Walker. At the coffee station. We actually drew straws before he got here, and I won, so we get to work together.
Let's get started. Let's see if we can't stir something up.
Let's give it a minute. I like to warm up the truth muscles a little coffee beforehand.
Well, what do you want to do first?
What do we have for a surveillance van?
Oh, wow. I got a Ford Explorer. We don't have a surveillance van.
Do you put many cases here?
Cases?
Yeah, cases. We're the tip of the spear when it comes to protecting American democracy.
You really believe this? You really believe that people posting crap online is going to cause our country to crumble?
I think the work that we do is important.
We don't have a surveillance van.
Me and some people got one. We've never needed one.
We need a surveillance van. We need a big case or a CI who can lead us to a big case.
What do you need the van for?
Surveillance.
CIs, or confidential informants, are the lifeblood of any good law enforcement agency. Public posts on social media are one of the best ways to find CIs. Agents would never use coercion or take things out of context to try and persuade someone to become a confidential informant.
The new Taylor Swift single is absolute fire. I'm just seeing a lot of incendiary and violent language here.
Agents always need to be on their toes and ready to make snap decisions.
Is there anything I can do for you guys? Actually, David, there is something you can do for us.
Chicky nuggies.
Chicken nuggets.
What?
Cheeseburger.
Cheeseburger. McDonald's cheeseburger.
Burger King.
Burger King cheeseburger.
Flame broiled.
Chicken nugget.
Oh, baby, know you're gonna like it. I wanna be your beaver pilot. Said, honey, know you're gonna like it. I wanna be.
Awesome, right?
Is this a loner?
This thing's totally legit.
What is this? It's got windows!
All right. We are live. Yes, we are. We are live. It is Anchorage, Alaska. It is May 6, 2025. And how's everybody doing? I am doing okay. That microphone sounds interesting. That setup. I kind of like it. Kind of gives me the crazy voice. Anyway, yes, welcome. Welcome to like my 60th stream in a row, it seems, on the weekdays. My goodness. Following along with the Reed case, the Karen Reed case, take two. Take two is, let's just say take two is not as action-packed as take one. Take one was a different animal altogether. I think Hank Brennan is definitely a better lawyer than Lally. He is not saying he's a great lawyer or he's a decent lawyer. He's annoying as crap. Hi, everybody. Hello to you. Hello, Kat. Hello, Hattie. I say hi, Kat. Hi, Kat. I just yell at her in the other room, too. And she yells back. But he's definitely more proficient. Their case is a mess. He's taking this mess of a case and trying to do something with it. I don't know what but I also don't think he's going to put on some of the people that made the last case so crazy as well. Because I noticed that today. There's a lot of the cops, like Seraph and some of the other people that are on the witness list, but they haven't been called yet. Officer Seraph was one of the very first officers on scene. Officer Seraph was most likely the one that Katie McLaughlin said she called an officer. There was an officer standing there, and when Karen supposedly said, I hit him, in the very first trial, Ossifer. That's what you say when you're drunk and pulled over. I'm not drinking, Ossifer. But Officer Seraph was, in the first trial, said, no, I did not hear that. I did not hear her say, I hit him. And he hasn't been called yet. There's a lot going on now, but the defense is also, I mean, they're doing good, but they're also, it seems that how am I trying to say? A lot of it seems to get lost in the mixing of the punch, right? Like, there's a really good punch at the end that's got all kinds of good additives in it, but the mixing of the punch just kind of loses it sometimes. Sometimes that's a boring part of it. And I'm hoping that this jury is not getting distracted by some of the mixing of the punch, and they're relishing the actual punch once it's done because it's there. I mean, but like the stuff with the cups and the blood and the thing today, and we'll kind of get into that a little bit. I don't know how much. I mean, so we start with Paul Gallagher back on the stand. And what's funny is I want to go back to, let's go back to yesterday. Let's just jump into it here. And let's run it back to yesterday. Let me find one of the threads from yesterday, day 9. There we go, Emily from day 9. Okay, and let's go. No, yesterday was not day 9, Jesus. Was it? Is this only day 10 or was yesterday day 10? God, I don't even remember. Okay, it was day 10 today. Holy moly. It seemed like it was more. I think I screwed up my thing. Oh, and I couldn't find. Remember we did we did the thumb last night and I couldn't find it today. So actually I'm going to do that right now while I'm remembering. God, I know. It's only 10 days of testimony, and it's just feel like a slog. And the judge is like, oh, yeah, we're on time, we're on track, and everything. It's like, really? Because I don't know. All right, so KSR3, let me just bring this up. And you can just share this because I don't need it. Windows. Okay, so we added this. Oh, and you know what? We can actually skip that for right now. Skip that for right now. Because we can add the blood stuff here there. But I want to go back to yesterday. So let me share. Let me find a day 9 one. Okay, day 9. Afternoon. That's from the first trial. Oh my God, that was from the first trial. What the shit's going on here? That was day 9 of trial number 1. I don't think that's the one we want. Nope. Okay, I've got it now. Thought I was loopy yesterday. Oh my God. Yeah, no, exactly. Like Brennan too is, I mean, I think he's putting on a better case than Lally did. I really do, because Lally is just so hard to follow. Brennan is more to the point. He does get his points across, but they've just got such a crappy case that, and then when they get down into the scientific and data evidence, it's going to get even worse for the Commonwealth. It really is, especially when they can rebut it. All right, so we go through. I want to just look at. So this was Paul yesterday, going through the theater of the freaking bag. All right, I'll be right back at it. Grab something here.
Be like, well, somebody opened this. Like, where did it go from then? Like, how did it get to court today?
Is there an item in that bag?
There is.
I don't know. How do you know?
And show us what's in that bag.
Does he have X-ray vision? How does he know what's in the bag? Does it have a chain of custody on it?
I mean, she's got all that right. Also, I think if we go back a little bit too. Hang on, we got to go back a little bit, because I think he talks about with Brennan why it's taped up. Why is that stuff on there? Let me bring up the transcript. Let's search for the word custody, because I know he used custody. Actually, let me just... Oh, really? You're not going to play where you're at in the thinking thing?
Also, it would have had to have gotten boxed up after the last trial.
Where am I at? 603. Okay.
I had an active role. I was the chain of
Transferring
custody. I
custody.
was turning it over to the criminalist, to the state police
And
lab.
then where did it go?
After that glass was given to the criminalist, did you ever have possession of it again?
Never.
Did you ever package it or touch it again in any way?
No, never.
Did you ever process it in any way?
No.
Did you put it in that box and tape it up yourself?
No.
Okay, I'm going to now ask you to open the box, please.
Oh. Yeah, we're allowing it?
So we got all this. We talk about chain of custody,
Well, somebody opened
and
this,
we talk about
where did it go from
the
then?
red tape and everything, right? All right. And then we get to today. Let's go to Miss Andrea first for this one. See if we can find it. Bear with me. I know it's in there somewhere. It's just, these live streams are so long, it's hard to like find a certain spot. There we go.
Do you recognize what's depicted in this photograph?
So now we get to go to the sallyport.
The vehicle, the broken taillight, I believe that's Miss Reed's vehicle.
And do you know when this photograph was taken?
I do not.
Do you believe it was taken between January 29th and February 1st?
Yes.
But you don't know when it was taken?
No, I don't have personal knowledge, no.
I just want to draw your attention very briefly, just to orient us to this area on the bottom right-hand corner. Do you see that, what looks like a white rag on the ground?
Yes, based on the pictures, I think it might be a paper towel, but yes.
Okay. If we could look at the next photograph.
Oh yeah, no, exactly. They're freaking cutting duct tape.
Looks like a paper bag.
So I'll speed this up a little bit.
Do you recognize what's depicted in this photograph?
There we go.
What is that?
That's the Stop and Shop bag.
Stop and Shop bag.
Do you see the rag in that photograph as well?
Yeah, we could call it agree to call it a rag or a
You
paper
think it's a
towel.
paper towel?
I'm not sure. It looks like a paper towel on the picture in the pictures, but it's a white object. Yes.
For all I care, the white thing. That's
Yes.
fine. All right. And do you see that that's next to a tire just at the top of the picture? Just for orientation purposes.
Yeah, appears to be 18 to 2 feet, 18 inches to 24 inches behind the tire. Yes.
Okay. And that, of course, is the tire of the SUV.
Yes, I would think
So
so.
that would be the right rear of the SUV, just a
So
few inches
we
from
do
this guy.
establish for the jury that the bag of blood was in the sallyport next to the freaking car.
Depicted inside
There's the
of that.
white rag.
Red Solo cups.
And you still
There's
see
the solo
rag in the
cups.
photograph.
I sure do. Yes.
So the SUV would be right here, correct? At the top of the left.
Well, I can't see the top of it. It would be it's nearby. Yes.
Okay. And it's not just nearby, it's the right rear of the SUV that's nearby, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And one final photograph. This is exhibit 57 for the record. What is inside that?
We're getting there.
Inside that bag.
The red solo cups with coagulated blood.
And
So we talk about the blood, the red solo cups with the blood.
And so if you take that down.
With coagulated blood.
Turn it up a little bit. Sorry, might be a little low.
These are the only photographs that we have or that you've ever seen of those red solo cups, that Stop and Shop bag, and the biological material in those red solo cups.
The only ones I have seen. Yes.
And those
That's the only photographs that they have seen. That's the only photographs that have been turned over to the defense. That's the only photographs that exist of the blood evidence in this case. No pictures of where it was taken from, no pictures of the spots before they came up off the ground. And you see, it's not a lot of blood. That's what I keep going back to too, is there is not enough blood in any of those pictures for this to be a head wound that was happened right there. I mean, it just seems an impossibility that there's a few drops of blood around there. And if they had found a giant huddle of blood, even if it's frozen by then, they would have taken pictures of it.
photographs that you see.
But that's the only pictures we have of any blood evidence in this whole case.
From the right rear of that SUV, correct?
Approximately, yes.
And the right rear.
So now we're getting into a very brilliant thing. So yesterday, and I hope the jury picks up this, I really do. Yesterday, Kabuki Theater with the tape. All right, so we're cutting tape.
There is.
Now we got a stupid bag.
Is there an item in that bag? There is.
I don't know. How do you know?
And show us what's in that bag.
Does he have X-ray vision? How's he know what's in the bag? Does it have a chain of custody on it?
All right, so we got all this
Also,
theater
it
with the
would've had to have
bag and the
gotten
gloves and
after
the
the last trial. Who did that?
and the freaking the scissors. We're cutting the bag.
Defense already objected.
We're cutting the bag more, and we're bringing out. And this is the thing too. There's no plastic. It's not wrapped in plastic. There's nothing. He pulls out, and that shocked me. That actually shocked me that he pulled out the glass. It's not in, I mean, you could have put it in some kind of clear container or something. It's got sharp edges. The dude just pulls it out. It would have been great if he'd have cut his finger with it. But he just pulls out this piece of glass.
Whacking through with the scissors?
And then holds it up like it's an OJ glove. That's an OJ glove move right there. That's a Darden. Here's OJ's glove, boy. That's exactly what that move was. Okay, so back to today. And now we get into it. This, I think he realizes that maybe he screwed up when he's like, what do you mean by sealed? So then AJ now he's got an opportunity to not only point out that your evidence wasn't sealed, that you came through yesterday with all this chain of custody, red tape, scissors, and gloves and box, because you guys are so careful about your evidence handling. Like, that's what it said yesterday. Shit, thank you. Thank you. Wait, I thought I was sharing the right one. Okay, I know. It said I was. Oh, yep. Okay. Thank you. Okay, so now we get back to it.
The tail light area, yes.
The cups were not sealed, correct?
The cups were not sealed.
The bag was not sealed, was it?
As far as I know.
Cups were not sealed. The bag was not sealed.
Yesterday you brought a box.
What do you mean by sealed? What do you mean by sealed? Oop. What do you mean by sealed? Well, let's see what he means by sealed.
That box had tape on it.
That's correct.
What color was the tape?
Red.
Why is the tape red?
It can be red. It can be blue.
It could be red. It could be blue. That's kind of a numbskull answer. And you'd think the jury would be like, no, that's a dumb answer.
I mean, evidence tape is
different colors. Normally, in your experience, red evidence tape is used to formally seal.
I haven't seen many, and the trials that I've watched, I haven't seen many blue evidence tape bags or, people having evidence that's in bags and boxes and stuff with blue tape.
Evidence bags or
red is usually the thing.
That's because it highlights to the eye a visual cue. Hey, that's important. It's been sealed. It's got bright red tape on it, correct?
Correct.
Oftentimes that tape has additional information on it as well, correct?
You can have initials on it of who put the tape on, yes.
Right. In other words, it might say evidence, correct? Might be pre-printed.
Pre-printed, yes, correct.
And it may have a place for initials to be.
Correct.
And one of the reasons that you initial it is because of that. If someone takes a razor blade and cuts through, or a knife and cuts through that tape, those initials are cut through. It has to be retaped and reinitialed, correct?
That is correct.
That is a basic protocol for chain of custody, is it not?
Yes.
And that's to maintain the care, custody, and control and the integrity over the items and the items inside the evidence container.
So remember too, right before this, when they go back, maybe he's not the one, maybe somebody else will come in and tell you what date those pictures were taken. But those are the only pictures we have of this blood evidence in this bag in the cups. And he can't tell you what date that picture was taken. He doesn't know. It's sometime between the 29th and the 1st or 2nd. I mean,
Whatever they may be.
That's correct.
Whether they are biological material, physical items of evidence, a document, whatever.
Correct.
None of that was done with what we just saw, correct?
Correct.
I mean, I don't know what else you say there, but you look like an idiot. You really do. You look like a complete not taking this seriously.
That's correct.
Whether they are biological material, physical items of evidence, a document, whatever.
Correct.
None of that was done with what we just saw, correct?
Correct.
We've agreed already that the blood was stored in non-sterile solo cups, correct?
Correct.
We've agreed that those cups were not sealed. The cups themselves were not sealed. There was no cap. There was no plastic, plasticine, saran wrap, nothing put over the cups, correct?
That is correct.
So they were open.
So now they argue about the bag a little bit and
They were not
everything.
specifically
So
blood material.
Vance, a little bit
Situated
more.
right next to the right rear quarter panel of that SUV would not be within normal protocols for securing evidence, correct?
This was in the hands of a criminalist. It was an exchange of custody. I don't have any issue with it.
You don't know, you have no personal knowledge.
So this right here, listen to these words again.
Would not be within normal protocols for secure, specifically blood material, situated right next to the right rear quarter panel of that SUV would not be within normal protocols for securing evidence, correct?
This was in the hands of a criminalist. It was an exchange of custody. I don't have any issue with it.
You don't know, you have no personal.
The defense asked to bring on a expert in criminal procedures and how to conduct criminal investigations. That request for that expert was denied. Judge Cannoni denied the defense a criminal case expert, somebody who's very, he was former FBI, and now this is what he does is he testifies in cases like this. And she has disallowed that expert to come testify because she said they can get the same thing in cross-examination. So is the fact that he's going to deny that this was and if some of the other cops, now, if there's accumulation of evidence, if there's accumulation of testimony from these folks to say, oh no, we did this correctly. Oh no, this investigation, we did this investigation correctly. Do you think she would overturn that and allow them to bring on that expert? I say no, because she's corrupt. But this is important because you've denied the defense that expert, and you're trying to get this out of cross-examination that they did not conduct the correct investigation.
Securing evidence, correct?
This was in the hands of a criminalist. It was an exchange of custody. I don't have any issue with it.
You don't know, you have no personal knowledge of where that bag had been or where the cups had been previous to that photograph being taken.
Correct.
You will agree that having unsealed and unsecured blood right next to the right rear of the SUV is a recipe for cross-contamination, wouldn't you?
Not in the hands of a trained criminalist, I wouldn't know.
Well, generally speaking, there were other people there that weren't the trained criminalists, right?
There was a photographer who took the pictures.
Who's not a trained criminalist.
Correct. The cups weren't in his hands. It was in the criminalist's hands. Those are the criminalist's hands you see gloved in that photo.
That's not my question. My question is, there was unsealed blood and in an unsealed bag for how much time, you don't know, sitting right there by the right rear of that SUV, correct?
No, I do know.
How do you know?
Because I'm the one that brought the bag with the criminalists to that area. They photographed it, documented it, and then they transferred it to their plastic containers.
And before you grabbed that bag, you don't know where that bag had been for 3 days hence, 3 days before.
I know it had been in the temporary evidence room in a refrigerator.
You actually never saw it in the temporary evidence room in the refrigerator until February 1st.
Very flexible with his personal knowledge, isn't he?
So you don't know where that bag had been. You don't know who had handled those cups before you pulled them out of that temporary evidence locker, correct?
I have no personal knowledge. If anybody else, I have no personal knowledge. I took them out of the refrigerator. That's all I can testify to.
Do you remember us talking about this about a year ago?
Yes.
And I asked you, would you agree that having unsealed and unsecured blood next to the right rear portion of the SUV is a recipe for cross-contamination? I asked you that question.
You did.
And you said, if I can speak to this incident alone, and I asked, that's a yes or no question?
That is correct.
Do you remember that?
Yes.
And you said, well, it's not a yes or no, but for your purposes, I would say yes.
Correct.
So it is, at least in your mind, a recipe for potential cross-contamination, correct?
Not in this particular situation, which was clarified later on.
Although you did say yes in answer to my question.
Hypothetically, anything is possible, yes.
So, yeah, they're trying, he's playing his semantic game, which, it's a lot of what it comes down to. But what will the jury think? What do you think the jury is going to? I don't know. So, I mean, he was on the stand for quite a while. And then there was some other testimony. I think we got to go back a little bit about the camera. Let's see. Packages. He mentioned something about picking up the reason why they didn't.
January 29th.
And I missed this because I was asleep still. So I'm watching this for the first time. So they're talking about the residence that has a camera that looks right across the street to 34 Fairview.
Part of the foundation she wants.
Mr. Gallagher, do you recognize this as being the photograph that you just saw, Exhibit 53?
That is correct.
Okay. I'm going to draw your attention. And by the way, there's one amendment to this photograph. There's a redaction of the address. You see that?
Yes.
Okay. I'd like to draw your attention to that area right there with that highlighting.
Yes.
What is that?
That is the Arlo camera.
Can you orient the jurors for us, please, to what we're looking at in this photograph?
You're looking at a camera that's angled downward.
And is it the front porch of that residence directly across the street from 34 Fairview?
It is not directly across from 34. It's actually more directly across from 32, so that would be incorrect.
Okay. Is it across the street from 34 generally?
It is, if Lieutenant Kelleher's house is here, 34 is over here across the street.
Okay. Is there a view from that front porch, just generally as you're standing there, if you were to turn 180 degrees and put your back to the door, is there a view of 34 Fairview as well as 32 Fairview?
Oh, sure. Absolutely.
Okay. Did you seek, and we can take this.
Angle downward.
Down.
How wide angle is the lens?
Did you see?
Hi, Joe. Your messages are coming through on X. I see, but I can't see what they say, unfortunately. I don't know why X messages are not coming through, but welcome to the stream. I'll have to ask because I don't see, and I'm on X. I'm trying to see if there's something on X I can read, and I'm not seeing it on the post either, which is weird. So, but welcome. Appreciate you being here. Sorry, I can't see what you're saying.
Seek to.
Did you ask?
Secure any footage from that Arlo camera from Deputy Chief Kelleher?
I did not.
Did you talk to Deputy Chief Kelleher about that footage?
I don't remember specifically.
Did you ask him whether or not he'd reviewed the footage?
So this is more testimony about the investigation and what they did to actually investigate what had actually happened. So I think this, I don't know. Yeah, if I was on a jury and this happened, I would be pissed that my time was being wasted. Oh, yeah, no, exactly. Exactly. But I mean, in my mind, I kind of feel, and this is just my preliminary thoughts right now, I hope 100% there is an acquittal. Last time there was acquittal on 2 of the 3 charges. We never got that. We've heard that through interviews and such that they did agree that there was an acquittal on 3 of the charges. 2 of the charges, 2 of the 3 charges. And then there was 8-4 on the 1 charge about the drinking and driving causing a death. Now, how close is that going to be to this one? I don't know. I don't have confidence in the people of Massachusetts. I honestly don't. I do not have faith in the people of Massachusetts that they are going to get this right. I just don't. So Joe, I apologize. I'm going to try and figure out what the heck's going on. I really want to see what you're saying. I appreciate all the comments, and I'm bummed that I can't see what you're saying. I don't know why stuff's not coming through on X. That's so weird. But I don't have faith in the people of Massachusetts, so I'm thinking that now hopefully they don't do the same thing and they acquit her on 2 of the charges, and there's a hung jury on the 3rd charge, and then they come back with, and are we going to have to do this again? That's my fear, is we have this perpetual. Karen Reed has perpetual charges over her head, because we know Canoni's never going to say that they can't bring the charges back.
For
anyway,
a determination whether or not it caught any of the incident that may have occurred at or around 34 Fairview on January 29th, the early morning hours.
Notice too that your test. Oh, was that on X? No, I don't. Yeah, it's all your comments. What the heck happened? Whoa, that was weird too. Everything just stopped. I don't know why. All right, let's get back to this. Everything's freaking out. Freaking out, man.
Everybody's freaking out. Why is it so bad?
All right, there we go. There's my my Jen voice. All right, sorry, I had to do that. All right. So, all right, we'll go back. He's asking about the Deputy Chief Keller's house across the street.
Chief Keller, I did not.
Watch too. What? So this is something that AJ has pointed out a few times, that he starts answering with his body language before Jackson gets the question out. He starts shaking his head. Right. And AJ has called him out on this a few times. He starts shaking his head before the question even ends.
Did you talk to Deputy Chief Kelleher about that footage?
I don't remember specifically.
Did you ask him whether or not he'd reviewed the footage for a determination whether or not it caught any of the incidents that may have occurred at or around 34 Fairview on January 29th, the early morning hours of January 29th?
I don't know if I did. I know it would not have.
How do you know it would not have?
Because I know
it would not have.
January 29th.
I don't know if I did. I know it would not have.
How do you know it would not have?
Because I know what that camera captures.
How do you know what that camera captures?
Because I've picked up packages for Deputy Chief Kelleher in the past. I know it captures his doorstep and a portion of the front lawn.
So you've reviewed the Arlo footage from his iPhone?
He's just sent me a picture. Can I pick up when he's been on vacation, can I pick up a paggage on the front step?
Okay. So,
yes, I've seen it.
So you've seen screenshots that
Sure.
Deputy Chief Kelleher sent you, correct?
I believe so, yes.
But you've never looked at the actual application to see what it might encapsulate or what it might capture generally.
We've compared what we have our cameras set up as. We had communicated about security out of houses multiple times. I know it captured the front door and a portion of the front lawn.
Do you believe that it would have been best practices to go ahead and secure that footage so we don't have to take
More best practices, you notice, before he even gets the question out, this police officer already starts shaking his head no before he's even getting the question out.
Do you believe that it would have been best practices to go ahead and secure that footage?
Little frowny face.
So we don't have to take anybody's word for it. We can actually look at the footage ourselves.
I didn't do that.
Do you think that would have been best practices to do that, just to have belt and suspenders? So there's no question about whether or not that camera that's facing directly across the street might have captured something of interest on the morning of January 29th, 2022.
To me, there was no expectation that it had captured anything, so I didn't think it was practical.
So because
yeah, right.
Of your expectation, you didn't seek the footage and you didn't secure the footage.
Because of my knowledge and expectation, yes.
And you now know that footage is gone.
I would assume so. I'm not familiar with how long Arlo keeps footage.
So you are familiar enough that you decided that it wasn't important to capture the footage, but you're not familiar enough to know whether or not the footage is actually saved onto the Arlo system?
I don't know anything about it. I don't have Arlo cameras. So I don't know anything about the system. But
okay.
I have the link, so we've compared our systems. So I'm not really sure what you're asking.
So you don't have an Arlo system.
I have blank, correct.
You're not familiar with how Arlo works, correct?
Correct.
You're not familiar with the total array of where the cameras might capture versus what might be captured on your phone app, or that you can say, like, push a button that says packages or people, and it narrows the focus of the camera. You're not aware of that?
I'm not aware of that, no.
Okay. But you would have been aware of that if you had captured the footage and simply said to Deputy Chief Kelleher, I'd like that Ring footage for that 24-hour period.
Okay, it's not Ring.
I'm sorry, that Arlo footage for a 24-hour period.
Sure.
Yeah.
You didn't like being walked into that one, but you did. But you did. Walked yourself.
So this is the first real detective, police officer. This is the first real time that they have had to get this kind of information. Yeah, exactly. She should be acquitted on principle alone. No kidding. But this is the first time they've actually been able to get in some of this best practices. Did you not do that? So hopefully they can file another motion to say that they do need to bring in their expert. And then
yourself right into it.
Well, let me ask you this. Did Deputy Chief Kelleher get any special treatment from you because he's a police officer?
No.
Did Deputy Chief Kelleher get any special treatment from you because he was your boss?
No, absolutely not.
Okay. You know Brian Higgins?
I do.
How do you know him?
Brian Higgins is a special agent with the ATF.
How long have you known him?
I first became aware of Brian Higgins.
All right, so we're talking about Brian Higgins. What else we got? So we weren't watching the they switched the camera over to AJ, but he calls out that activity with the dude shaking his head thing.
Brian Higgins was at the house at that time.
Because you didn't ask anybody else who was.
So they're talking about Brian Higgins, and they're talking about when they went to interview everybody.
Interview Brian Albert seek to separate the occupants at 34 Fairview, correct?
No.
You didn't interview Brian Albert formally, did you?
I did not know.
You were asked by Mr. Brennan, did he ever end the conversation precipitously? Did he end it earlier? Anything like that? He didn't end any interview because he wasn't interviewed, correct?
That is correct.
You didn't interview Brian Higgins.
That is correct.
You wouldn't interview Brian Higgins because he's your personal friend, correct?
Correct.
But you didn't have anybody else interview him either, did you?
Again, we're talking, I think we've gone over this and maybe you didn't understand. I didn't know Brian Higgins was at the house at that time.
Because you didn't ask anybody
I didn't know he was at the house at that time.
else who was at the house at that time.
I wasn't talking to anybody at that house, correct?
Might have been a good idea, wouldn't it?
Not at that time. We were there for one specific reason. We wanted to get to the hospital. So no.
Might have been a good idea to sit Mr. Albert down and say, there, you're shaking your head again. I'm not done with my question.
You called it out right there. You're shaking your head again. I'm not done with my question. Constantly through there. He's always doing that.
Idea, Mr. Albert. Since you happen to be there, no sweat off your brow, to sit Mr. Albert down and say, by the way,
So they're really still getting into it.
Then how did you two not know that Brian Higgins was there?
I don't know where. I'm confused. At what time?
Exactly.
At what time?
You're confused.
Right there. I'm confused. Exactly.
Higgins was
Listen
there.
to that again. Listen to this. And I don't think Bev said anything about this comment either, because she's usually good about saying, oh, no comments from the attorneys. No comments from the attorneys. Checked out this. If the jurors are keen and smart, they picked up on this.
It was documented in this report of everybody of what Mr. Jackson is asking.
Then how did you two not know that Brian Higgins was there?
I don't know where. I'm confused. At what time?
Exactly.
At what time?
You're confused. Yes,
I'm confused. Exactly.
No.
John O'Keefe arrived.
Okay.
At Fort Fairview after midnight on January 29th, 2022.
So when I discovered Brian Higgins was there, wasn't until I read the report.
When you were standing in the house, Sergeant Blank, who you just told these jurors, knew that Brian Higgins and everybody else was there.
He had obtained the names. He hadn't written the report yet.
And hadn't told his boss.
I don't recall.
Even though you.
I mean, this is so ridiculous.
Have you ever learned one fact that would have justified search?
So I think right here.
You
The fact
didn't
is, you didn't
want
seek a
to
search
know.
warrant.
I would have. Correct.
The fact is, you never searched the house.
That's correct.
The fact is, you never searched the basement.
That's correct.
The fact is, you never searched the garage.
That's correct.
That's all I have, Your Honor.
Have you ever learned one fact that would have justified searching that house?
Not to this day.
Objection, Your Honor.
Have you ever learned one fact that would have justified searching that house?
That's correct.
Now, I'm not an attorney, but questions like that, in a normal proceeding with a normal judge, questions like that would potentially, too many questions like that could potentially open up bringing in more of the federal investigation and actually explaining what the federal investigation is. Because if you're going to say stuff like, have you ever learned one fact?
Have you ever learned one fact that would have justified searching that house?
Not to this day.
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustained is to form, and you can put the glass in right now, Mr. Vernon.
Thank you. Move that into evidence, please.
Is it a 58? All right, Lieutenant, you're all set, sir.
She cut him off too. If you notice that, she sustained the objection, and then basically, which you can't really see him, but I don't think he said anything that he was done. I think Bev saw where he was going with this, cut him off pretty quick.
You ever learned one fact that would have justified searching that house?
Not to this day.
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustained is to form, and you can put the glass in right now, Mr. Vernon.
Like, she didn't give him a chance to even start up again. Objection, sustained to form, and you can move the glass into evidence, and we're done with this. You better be done with this witness, because if not, you're going to really screw yourself
Move
up.
that into evidence, please.
I think she just tried to save.
Thank you.
She cut off that
Next witness,
redirect.
Mr. Vernon.
Yep.
I'd like to play clip 18, please.
And now more stupid clips, which I can't even watch this crap. Which, I don't know how much these clips are going to be. She says some dumb things, though. If you're ever in trouble, don't talk to the media. Don't talk to the police. Don't do it. Just don't freaking do it. Okay, so then we got Cat Track Guy. This is the meteorologist. This is Lowry. This is the most boring. But they do ask him about
28th. Bombogenesis, bomb cyclone, winter storm, all referring to the storm event of the 28th, mostly the 29th. The first snowfall began late in the evening on the 28th and continued into the 29th.
Just starting with that snapshot of the evening of the 28th, how much snow accumulated on the 28th before turning the page to the 29th?
Very little. Enough to track a cat, 0.2 of.
Enough to track a cat. This guy is like, he is like a meteorologist freaking savant, right? Like he is Mr. Meteorologist. He knows all the stuff. Why is this stupid thing on here? I don't want Dropbox. Go away, stupid Dropbox thing. Yeah, this guy is like Mr. Meteorology, freaking super dude. Yeah, no, exactly. The subway, if it's like, because I know, trust me, I'm in the Arctic. I know all about snow. I will be using that. Yeah, it's track a cat snow. So he's got all kinds of like there was a observatory. Let's see where. Let's see.
No depth. So those three different types of data at those three different locations.
He loves his weather and he loves his history.
Now,
you can tell.
When you talk about the Blue Hills Observatory being the oldest in the country, how old is it?
I was established.
That's like a Johnny Carson thing. How old is it?
Established by Abbott Roch, who left his family home at 5 Commonwealth Avenue in Boston and built this really strange little structure at the top of Great Blue Hill on February 1st of 1885.
And do you know how far away from 34 Fairview Road?
Yep, he's got all these little things. So we go through, and then we find that the let me see if I can find it here.
Freezing ground. It typically happens in this climate in the midwinter that our ground freezes.
So they brought this guy in not only as a meteorologist, but to say that the ground was super hard.
So if you look a few days before, you get a good sense if that was the case. I mean, there have been winters, there have been months of January in recent years that we've reached 60, even 70 degrees, and nothing is going to be frozen during that time. This was not the case in late January of 2022. It was an unusually cold period, and it was important to record that.
Now, can you describe to the jury or lay out for the jury the temperature readings throughout that period of time that you analyzed?
Yes. From 1:30 to 5:30?
Yes, please.
On the 29th? All right, I'll consult this data for the report. It might have been a little bit colder. In Canton, storm intensifies. And that's what we see starting to happen as you get to, this is a classic winter nor'easter, and that temperature drop is part of that. Mm-hmm.
And lastly, sir, if I could just take you back to the...
Trying to testify that the ground is it's harder than it would be on a normal winter. I guess that's part of their theory of the case, is that the ground was harder than it would have been. Now, Alessi came in. Let's see. He says something kind of funny up here.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yes, that was very helpful. We needed an expert for that.
May I, Your Honor?
Yes.
Good afternoon, Mr. Gilman, and congratulations on your career up to this point.
Thank you.
Congratulations on your career up to this point. That's kind of a dig, I think. I think that's kind of a dig. I actually don't think this guy was too bad of a witness. I think he's going to get mocked online because of the whole, rock hard. The ground was super hard or whatever. I think part of that's going to be like, that's kind of dumb. But, yeah. So, all right. Today, and then that's kind of like the biggest fireworks of the day. They called in Garino.
Or January.
They weren't allowed. Yeah, and exactly. Where did it go? And we haven't got to there's other evidence that wasn't really talked about as much last year either. And that there was somehow vomit in John O'Keefe's pants. If you're laying on your back, that doesn't happen. You don't get that in your pants from being hit on a car and falling and hitting, striking your head and dying right there. So I want to see more of that evidence come out on what happened with that and how that's physically impossible if what the Commonwealth is saying happened. So okay, we get Garano. He comes back for the last time. Canoni has released an opinion that Sandra Birchmore cannot be talked about. They cannot talk about the Sandra Birchmore case and the 37,000 text messages that Trooper Garano did not recover from between Sandra Birchmore and Matthew Farwell in the murder case, basically, which the feds actually found. So they're not allowed to bring that up. They're not allowed to impeach this guy as far as how ridiculous he is. So, and I think we ended up early today, and I think I know why. So he basically comes in, they play all of they talk about the phone calls after she supposedly dropped him off. They play the voicemails, where she's yelling at him. And then she said, why, you're not home. And then there's one like later on in the morning. So this is 6:03 a.m. She called and left her phone on. But then, so they play all this, and it comes time to cross.
All right. Mr. Les, does this seem like a good time to take the lunch and recess?
Does, Your Honor.
All right, so we take lunch.
Folks, we will take a 45-minute lunch.
Come back for lunch. And let's
Only
see
45. Wance really got what got the attention. Karen Reed in particular is talking about if they know about it. And Wance really got what got the attention. By this a little bit more likely. If they know about something about the case, that seems like it would benefit Karen Reed. Social media, by and large,
so
seems to be.
Your Honor, no questions for the witness.
All right.
They do not cross Garino at all. And I think without the Birchmore stuff, there's probably not much to cross him on. That's my thought. I mean, what are they going to actually ask him? Like, I don't know that there's much that. I guess the only thing would be some type of impeachment as far as the investigation goes. This could have been an opportunity to get in more of the lousy investigation that they did. But yeah, I don't know. All right, so then we have this guy, which.
Yes, good afternoon. My name is Charles Ray. I'm a lieutenant with the Canton Police. Last name R-A-E.
How long have you worked for the Canton Police Department?
Why is he always yelling? That's what I don't understand. Why is dude always freaking yelling?
Approximately 25 years. Name R-A-E. Yes, good afternoon. My name is Charles Ray. I'm a lieutenant with the Canton Police. Last name R-A-E.
How long have you worked for the Canton Police Department?
Why are you yelling at your witness?
Approximately 25 years.
And when were you assigned lieutenant?
Approximately 10 years ago.
I want to go back to January 29th, 2000.
He's just always yelling and sounding
You learned a part of that. Your role that morning was unrelated to 34 Fairview Road?
Still yelling.
Was at 34?
On O'Keefe.
At some point, will you decision to do something?
Did.
I think they only
Was it
brought
an
this
order from
witness
somebody,
in
or did you
was
make a
to
decision on your own?
add this dash cam here.
Oh, this is picking up. This is starting to really pick up.
Which I don't even know what they're.
I mean, look at the rate his wipers are on. These are not even the, constant wipers. Terrifying.
So this
The ground, a little bit of drift.
I guess
How it's
the-
lumpy behind the wheels.
Could you stop, please, Ms.
Kind of
Miller?
drifting over to the right.
I note that the time is 8:23:10. Do you remember the time when you got there?
I didn't make note of it mentally at that time, but I've since learned that, yes.
I think what they're trying to say is that this is the missing taillight pieces right here. You can see there's also snow, so
You
it's
just
not.
watched consistent with your memory that morning?
Yes.
The cruiser cam is showing two vehicles in the driveway. When you arrived that morning, did you know whose vehicles they were?
At that time, no.
At that time, did you pay any particular attention to either of those vehicles?
No.
I think he's
If I
trying to
could-
say that this side it looks intact. This side you can see a little bit of silver there.
Show
So
exhibit 10, please.
The blow up.
what is it?
Karen's car.
I think this might be a blown up.
So does that appear to be a still photo from the video we just watched?
Yes.
And could I have exhibit 11, please? When you arrived for the wellness check that morning, were you working as an investigator in any way?
No, I was not.
Did you happen to pay any particular attention to the right side of the back of that car that morning?
No, I did not.
And is that photograph a close-up of the previous picture?
And it does look like
appears to be a
that's
still photo
missing. It
taken from
really
the video
does.
on the cruiser that you were
But I mean, you would think that they'd have more very up close pictures of it
driving that morning, or
besides
that
this
you were in that
one.
morning.
Yes.
Okay, you can take that down, please. Thank you. After you arrived at
As we learned in the Rittenhouse trial, when you blow up pictures like this, especially low resolution pictures, the software that does the zoom in adds pixels to photographs. That was one of the big things that we learned in the Rittenhouse trial, because supposedly they were showing him lifting his gun up beforehand or whatever, and the person came in and said, especially when you zoom in, like on your phone, if you've got a picture up and you just do the pinch and zoom, a lot of times that adds pixels. The software is trying to figure out what is on the picture, and it's adding pixels to it.
At Meadows, did you do anything?
When we were at the Meadows, we went up to one of the front doors and rang the doorbell, knocked on the door.
All right, so there's this guy, then we have the
Because this was such a small search
Search
area,
guy.
our members lined up almost shoulder to shoulder. Once we were on a line, we would slowly move forward.
Lieutenant Tully was the person responsible for documenting that item. Is that right?
He was very pleased with himself.
Eyeball.
Thing that I wanted to ask you about, which is you had indicated to Lieutenant Tully at some point close to 6 p.m.
I think this was the biggest takeaway from the the biggest takeaway from the search guy was he asked for a picture of the car, and Tully said no, it can't.
To Lieutenant Tully at some point.
I'll just let
close
him
to
explain
6
it.
p.m. or so. It would be helpful if you and your team had a photograph of what it was you were looking for. Correct?
Yeah, I believe after we found the first piece or two, I asked him if he had a photograph that we could look at just to see how large of an area.
So that
how large of a piece we were looking for, sir. Yes.
Fine. So that would just timing wise, if you found the first piece at 5:45, first piece or two, maybe 2 or 3 or 4 minutes later. After that, maybe 5 minutes later. So let's place it at 5:50, close to 6. something like that?
Yeah, probably between 545 and 550, possibly, sir.
And you said to him at the time it'd be helpful if we had a photograph of what it is we're looking for, correct?
Yeah, I said that would help, yes, sir.
And Lieutenant Tully told you that the vehicle he did not have a photograph because it was still en route from Dayton being transported to Canada, right?
He did say he did not have a photograph and it was being towed back.
Okay.
So he was saying that it was being towed back at 550, but he knew that it was actually not. It was actually in the sallyport at 535. So why would he do that?
Thank you, sir.
Okay, Mr. Brennan.
Thank you. Canton police officers, were they part of the search?
They were not, sir, no.
Were they on the grid?
And
They were not, sir.
so then Brennan comes back up and gets
Did you ever
angry
see them
again.
in the area on the grid?
I did not.
I don't know
No,
why
sir.
he's so angry.
They were there. Were they involved in any way in the crowd?
They weren't the only people that ever came on scene other than us, and those local
Yeah,
officers were at some
actually,
point
some of
immediately
these-
arrive on scene.
When you say on scene, is on scene different than on the grid?
Correct, just in the general vicinity, sir.
Did you know what the Canton police officers were doing?
I do not know, sir.
Did you ever see either of them ever come on your grid?
They did not know, sir.
Did you ever see anybody place or toss or throw anything onto your grid?
I'll allow it.
Did you ever see anybody
I'll allow
place or toss or
it.
throw anything onto your grid?
I did not know, sir.
Did you ever see anybody intrude on the grid and leave an item?
Choose a different word.
Did you ever see anybody physically intrude upon your grid?
No, no one did that, sir.
You were asked about
Oh, that's right. This is where the
Oh, and now
this is where the stream
Back-
freezes.
yes.
Thank you very much.
Anything, Mr. Jackson?
Yes, pretty good. So the search went approximately 60 feet.
That's the area I marked off, sir.
And in that 60 feet, you started close to or adjacent to
The front one.
the front
The
door,
front door.
correct?
Correct, sir.
And in that 60 feet, you were doing the type of search that we described earlier, you described earlier, going just a few paces at a time and starting to move material out of the way to try to get down to the surface, correct?
Yes, sir, all working together, yes, sir.
And you did not find 40 pieces of taillight at or near or on that street or the lawn or
Wasn't them at the scene, was it?
PM.
He gets in the that they could not get you a photograph because it was being towed.
Wasn't
And
them at
then
the scene, was it?
he puts this in the jury's mind. Now, I think he knows he's going to get objected to, and it's probably going to get sustained. But he does a good job of
Well,
getting
Trooper
this
Tully
in front of the jury.
told you that the vehicle was en route and could not provide you a photograph at, let's call it 5:50 p.m. Did he tell you that the vehicle had actually been secured at Canton PD about a mile and a half away at 5:35 p.m.?
No, he did not say that, sir.
Did you know through any
Oh,
other
he didn't get
means
objected
that
to.
vehicle was just a mile and a half away at 5:35 p.m. before you ever found the first piece of taillight? Did you know that?
I did not know what time it arrived, sir.
Thank you.
So he gets that in, and that was not really for him. That was for the jury. That was totally a. I need the jury to hear this. And give me a moment while I go in here and ban this person in my Twitch because, I'm broadcasting on Twitch for whatever reason. I don't know why, but maybe someday. Okay. Banned. You're gone. Let's see, can I get rid of the cheap viewers on Stream Boo? Yeah. Thanks. I'm not going to pay for bots to watch my channel. No, thank you. I will stick with the few folks that I have until we eventually get new ones. But till then, I will not buy bot viewers. All right. So, that was it. And then I think that was all the witnesses they had today. It's funny because, Bev is like, oh, we're on time. We're doing good.
They told you.
Sound here on Law and Crime. It's there in the background. I don't know. You sound people know what that means. Sounds like sound here on Law. Hey, sound here on Law and Crime. It's like got that. No, you said that. No, I got to tell you, I've shoveled a.
It's funny because this seems like the second time that they've run out of witnesses. I'm pretty sure that they had expected a more rigorous cross-examination of Guarino. And so that's why they didn't have any more witnesses today. And when they just came back from lunch and said, no cross-examination, you're like, really? So, yeah, so...
So, jurors, every day I've been asking counsel whether we are on track. Usually, I haven't reported it to you as much, but I can tell you now that we are definitely on track. Maybe a little ahead of schedule, which may just mean down the road a little bit, we'll be back on track. But because we're on track a little ahead of schedule right now, we're done for today. So
I can guarantee you that when the defense comes, if they run out of witnesses, you will not see this smiley lady here. You will not see, everything's great. We're ahead of schedule. It will be, we are behind schedule, and it's the defense's fault.
we'll let you leave for today with those same
100%. I'd put $100 on it right now that's what's going to happen.
Do not discuss this case.
If for some reason they run out of witnesses, so
We're done for today. So we'll let you leave for today with those same
This was
cautions.
about
Please do not discuss this case
3:30.
with anyone. Don't do any independent research or investigation into
this was right around 3:30 Eastern time.
case. If you happen to see here or read anything about this case, please disregard it and let us know. Be very careful with
It's
the
like an
social
hour,
media.
at least an hour and a half early that they let them go. So, all right. The only other thing for today, I mean, that was it. Like I said, this, and maybe one is because we've been, we know what's coming. We know what's coming with the evidence. It was so shocking the first time when you see the bags of blood and the freaking Stop and Shop bag in the damn, the garage. I mean, when you see pictures like this, when we first saw this, it was like shocking. It was absolutely shocking.
Yes, based on. And do you know
that this?
To
people were just like, "What in the world?"
That's the Stop and Shop bag. We could call it agree to call it a yes.
For all I care, the white thing. That's
yes.
Fine. All right. And do you see that that's next to a tire just at the top of the picture, just for orientation purposes?
Yeah, appears to be.
Wait, what? Give me a second. I'll go back to trial number 1 in our channel here. Hang on a second. Playlists. View full playlist. Oh, stop, Rob. Come on. Let's see, that was Jen McKay. Okay, so it wasn't that. Wasn't that one. Here, I'll share you. These were my little videos that I made.
I don't remember speaking with Mr. Lally. I don't.
These were fun. Was it Dave? No. I know I had the blood stuff in there.
What if any?
There we go. Yeah.
What if anything? No, any snow.
You never once heard her say, I hit him.
What if anything?
I hit him.
Who, if anyone else?
I hit him. I hit him. I hit him.
What, if anything, you know, who, if anyone?
When your own witnesses are staring at you, the problem is your questions.
What, if any observations, or what, if anything,
Yeah,
you know, in regard to sort of tactile observations? What, if anything?
What, if any?
What, if any?
What, if anything? What, if anything?
What, if any? What, if anything?
It was snowing heavily.
What, if anything?
I was operating the leaf blower.
Who, if anyone?
Had you ever used a leaf blower in a crime scene preservation effort?
First time.
First time?
And he was there with the leaf blower.
Who is operating the leaf blower?
I am.
What, if anything? And what, if anything?
What, if any's?
Stop and Shop. It says Stop and Shop.
Oop, there it is.
Plastic cups with the coagulated blood. 39.
Oh.
39.
Oh my God.
That was the best reaction.
You've got to be joking me.
39.
Look at that.
I didn't realize now I remember I had a Jeff in there.
What, if any? Who, if anyone?
What? Oh my God. You've got to be joking me.
39.
Look at that.
What, if any? Who, if anyone?
What, if any? What, if any? Who, if anyone? I'm going to be saying that.
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever used evidence tape before?
No.
Sure I have. I don't recall. Off the
Not
top
my
of
job.
head.
He doesn't recall using evidence tape ever.
About 7 or 8 high tops, 4 or 5 low tops.
High tops and the low tops. There
Just so much more from the first
was a
trial.
storm coming. Correct.
Interviewed at 5:30 p.m. on February 10th, correct?
Correct.
Where did that interview take place?
At my home in Canton.
Oh, I
Not
remember
the
this one too.
Me, my husband, Trooper Proctor, and Trooper Bukaki. Bukaki.
Buchanan.
Trooper what now? Trooper what now?
Michael Proctor.
Oh, man,
Bukaki.
we had moments like this too. Oh my God. Where is this? I want this trial back.
Bukaki.
Hey, Jeff.
Michael Proctor.
I was not ready for that.
What, if anything?
Have butt dialed.
What, if anything? That have been
Oh, nice. Very cool. Yeah. What if any? Yep.
piled up on your
This
front lawn?
trial
What, if
back.
anything, was?
What, if anything,
The high top table.
And what, if anything?
was butt dialed Mr. Higgins?
You started having adulty time, and then during that adulty time, you accidentally butt dialed Brian Higgins.
What, if anything? What, if anything, did you observe?
Like a black blob.
I would guess it's the tailgate.
So you can't guess.
I can only assume it is.
So you can't assume.
I would assume Bud Lights, I guess. It might be guessing at the time. If I had to guess, I would say maybe half.
Objection, is there a question?
Hey, Lolly, everyone's been real respectful of the objection, no speaking. So don't start popping off with this. Is there a question? Because, sir, have you met you? Let this defense attorney ask a question, Lolly.
I want this trial back. The trial we got now is just. So yeah, that was what we got today. We did get the blood in there. Yeah. We got the blood in the cups, so maybe tomorrow we get some excitement. I'm really curious. I really want to see that they're expert. I really want to see their crash. They've limited, and that's one of the things that you can think that Brennan is doing is he is limiting the own goals. Right? All that stuff that we had in these videos from last year, those were all own goals. All the what if any, who if any's, all the everything, the butt dials, the whole thing. Those were the Commonwealth own goals. And if Brennan has done anything, Brennan has limited his own goals. Is it enough? I don't know. It's, yeah, I know they're pushing for an acquittal. I think I don't know how you convict on any of these charges with this, but I do see how you get to a hung jury. I do. I still see that, knowing what we know and knowing the people of Massachusetts and how they are the second dumbest state in the union after Michigan. Yeah, Mr. Fake Face, exactly. Oh my gosh, it's so, yeah. I mean, just they've really cut down on this. I don't know that they're going to bring on some of the witnesses that didn't, some of the witnesses that will. So, I mean, their own witnesses were saying that other witnesses, they didn't hear what the other witnesses claimed they did, and stuff like that. I don't think that they're going to. I don't think they're going to bring those people on. I just don't. I think they're going to limit it, and I think they're ramping up towards their expert crash reconstructionist. And then they're going to turn it over to the defense. Maybe, I don't know. I'm perplexed at how they're carrying this out. So we'll see. We'll see if tomorrow brings us a little more excitement. And on that note, at 7:52, I am going to sign off for the night. Maybe do some editing on the other show. I forgot to mention I did editing on the show over the weekend, and I started. I got some more done and kind of happy with where it's at. So I think I'm going to try and do some more editing for the Mistakes Were Made show. That is what I'm going to go do. So, okay. And I will be back tomorrow for another invigorating round of what the hell is the Commonwealth of Massachusetts doing? So, yeah, I get it. Yeah, I mean, this trial is just, it's the second time around is just, it's a travesty. It's really a travesty that we're even going through this a second time. So I don't get it. But anyway, I mean, they had to bring in Brennan, the super attorney or whatever. I don't know. It's stupid. So, but hopefully, I mean, yeah, this is kind of like, I mean, it's not OJ level by any means, but it's one of the things I wanted to do actually was look at, I mean, this is not OJ level trial because people were glued to that daily. However, this is getting numbers that, like CNN and people like that would love to have. I mean, so Emily Baker's got 345,000 people that have watched her stream. Andrea had 79,000 views on her stream today. This is Melanie Little, had 159,000 views today. Rakeda, he had 21,000. AV had 21,000. So, and then I didn't even check the Court TV ones. Let's see what Court TV had on this trial. Hey, what are you doing? Let's go to Court TV. Day 10. I mean, Court TV's got 352,000 views. So, I mean, you're getting into the, with 345, you're getting close to the, this is already 1 million people. And then there's so many trial channels covering this. clip the top ones here, right? Brandy Churchwell's got, 20, 30,000 people. And you've got you got so many channels following this right now. So you've got 1 million people checking in, watching portions of this or watching the whole thing throughout the day. And so this has the attention of a lot of people. So we'll see. We'll see if the people of Massachusetts disappoint us once again, or if, justice gets actually served. So, all right. Another exciting day tomorrow. And I say that facetiously, but we'll be back to check it all out. All right. Have a good night. We'll see you later.